You're listening to WGHC 98.3 FM Chicago. Coming right up, The Truth Is Out with me, Skip Sams. And today, Eldon Theo ZWERG will be right with us. Stay tuned. That was Eldon Theo ZWERG. Eldon, hello.
Hi, Skip. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for your patience while we got all this set up today. Running a little behind, but we got to hear a song that I love. Well, I love all of your songs, but Drive Away Your Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that song was written for my nephew.
Okay.
Right after he was born. Yeah.
That's who you're talking to in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name's Isaiah. I call him Zay. Hi, Zay.
Zay, that's it. Okay. Hey, Zay. Well,
hey, Zay.
That's a beautiful song.
Thanks.
You sent a video to one of my pages on Facebook, Gay Pride Music, and I was enamored with your voice and your songs.
So
yeah, absolutely. So, tell us, how are you enjoying this pandemic time?
I find it's challenging. It's kind of, you and I had talked before, and we were talking about our struggle with mental illness, us artistic types. Mm-hmm. And
yep.
I find this pandemic and everything that's resulted from it can kind of be a trigger. I find routine works well for me.
Yeah.
Making sure I get enough sleep, enough food. Ask my boyfriend. Oh, he's angry. ZWERG's hangry. Get him some food.
Yep.
Yeah, and trying to exercise pretty much every day and rehearse each day.
Rehearsing, yeah, I see. And you're playing music and putting it on Facebook. You're playing. Your home videos in your kitchen. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Our house is a log cabin in the woods on a dirt road off a dirt road. My father managed to get a 9-foot grand piano in there, and I sound really spoiled, but it belonged to a church, and they were going to get rid of it. And I don't know if they didn't have room for it or whatever, but it's a Chickering grand. Chickerings were made in Boston around the turn of the century. It's a great piano, and my dad arranged to get a bunch of guys to get this 9-foot grand piano in this relatively small cabin, and so it takes up it's an open concept, so that's why it looks like I'm in the kitchen, because behind me when I'm filming there's the stove and the fridge.
Right. Well, that makes it just makes it very real, and that's I can tell by talking to you the few times that we talked how authentic you are, and just right away, just hey buddy, just really, really friendly, and I love that about you. And it's in contrast, I think, to what some people would think by your dress and your presence, because it's, I read a magazine article on you, it was 2015, that it was like, who is this sweet man that looks slutty? I forget what. Which I was like, that's true. Yeah. This is such a sweet man, and he looks like, a modern version of a male Madonna in some ways,
Oh yeah, people look at my photos of me dressed all slutty, and boy, doesn't he like himself.
Yeah.
But
well, people
it's really the opposite.
Yes, it is. People who are listening may not know that you are a recording artist in Canada. 5 albums, is that correct?
Something like that, yeah.
5 albums
EPs
plus
too. So.
And EPs, and plus a couple of your albums are, I just found out recently, you put out instrumental versions of them, which are amazing. And your music, in early on, you were the plain dressed, sweet boy. I think that was like in the late 90s, and you've progressed and took on your image. When you first started, were you out to the public when in your first album came out?
No, not at all. I grew up in a very Christianized household, and actually grew up singing gospel music with my family.
I can relate to that, yeah.
You did too?
Yes, I did. I'm a preacher's kid.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're a PK.
Yeah.
You told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know about the internal struggle.
Yeah, so tell me, it's very similar for all of us, but I would love to hear your journey.
Sure. Well, yeah, I was going to Atlantic Baptist University, which is just down the road from my parents' house. And I knew that I was attracted to guys, but I thought it was just like Paul's thorn in his flesh that he wouldn't reveal to keep him humble. And that was like the sin that I struggled with, and everybody had something.
Yeah.
Or maybe, because you only know what's in your own head, maybe everybody kind of felt that way a little bit and just chose whichever way they wanted to go. So I was very, very conflicted inside. And then once I graduated, my folks said I had to get a degree. So I got my degree, and then I moved to Toronto for acting, and I started getting my feet wet, playing live around town, and I played at my church, and I became an evangelical Christian.
So what does that mean to you? You became evangelical Christian.
Well, I went to it was a Finnish Pentecostal church, and they really became my family because I didn't have any family there, and I really missed my family. And anyway, so I had a dual life happening because I'd be downtown Saturday night in the gay village, and then sometimes I'd stay up all night and go to church the next morning. So still in my club clothes from the night before. So it was a struggle, and eventually I just broke down. I spent 3 days, I remember, fasting and praying on the floor. Wow. Literally. And I talked to my doctor, who was actually a member of the church, and he said, look, you can either make yourself more ill or you can accept this. And I was a very Christian man.
Wow.
So I just realized that, maybe there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe what the Bible says isn't right. And then slowly I started to accept myself more. And I'm still very spiritual. I still pray every day. Just much, much, much more open-minded now.
So who do you pray to?
You could say God, the universe, the source, higher power. I think religion is so cultural. Right. And I think it's always an attempt for humanity to kind of give a vernacular, or apply a vernacular to the ineffable.
I love that word, vernacular. I don't know why. It's just like it rolls off the tongue. Vernacular.
Sounds like a dinosaur if it had a saurus, a vernacular saurus.
So when you came out and you started, that's when you were doing theater already, yes?
Yeah, well, mostly TV, actually. I haven't done theater since high school.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
But yeah, TV.
So how did your family react?
Well, I didn't come out to them until I was 29, and I had a mental breakdown. They said, it's okay, Uncle Glenn is too.
Oh, wow.
So I told them I had a mental breakdown. They said, it's okay, Uncle Glenn is too.
Oh, wow.
So I told them everything that I tried to do to change it. I had that doctor I was mentioning prescribed me testosterone, and which doesn't change your sexual orientation, of course. But
if you have testosterone, you have it.
Yeah,
right?
It just makes you hairier and hornier. So, so once they realized, that I had tried everything to change it, they started to question what they believed too.
How so?
Well, because you're so indoctrinated in the church that anything in the Bible is right. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with in the Bible, like a lot of stuff that Paul said about women should be subservient to men. Well, who said that? Men.
Right. Yeah.
I don't believe that at all. I think so much of it was cultural and based on the societal norms and the social climate and the cultural values of the day in which those books were written. I don't mean to offend anybody. I respect everybody's beliefs, but I'm just sharing my opinion right now.
No, I get it. I can relate to that. I refer to my upbringing as what I was taught, the religion of my origin. That's how I refer to it. And it's not judging that religion. It's not for me to judge. Just as I say, it's not for other people to judge me. And myself have also, I shared with you that I'm a recovering meth addict, and I found recovery. And in that recovery, I found I call it my higher power. Some call it God. That I've always understood, that has always been there underneath of everything as I was growing into my own person. There, underneath all of the religion, there was this connection that was blurred by what I thought I was supposed to believe. And when I was able to set all of that aside, then I found that real connection, and the one that drives me today. And it sounds as though you had that similar experience.
Definitely. One of my favorite things to do is to go on YouTube and watch people's testimonials about their near-death experiences. And I know you can't necessarily believe all of them. Maybe some of them have an agenda, but there seems to be so many commonalities about if and when they do have a life review, any judgment was self-imposed, and they just felt the pain that they caused other people. But there was no judgment from the higher power. It was just unconditional love. I think that, when we die, all that's really going to matter is how we treated other people.
It's true. I want to play a song, since we're talking about that, one of your songs from Dual Citizen, which I want to talk about that title when we're done with the song. But I want to play, I love this, High in Heaven. Do you want, what, I got to say before I play this, one of the things that I notice about your music, I love how there are just so many different genres that, you could say, oh, that's pop. Oh, wait, no, that's more of a pop rock. No, that's what? There's a little heavy metal in there. Oh, that's, that's orchestral. And I love how, but yet you sound consistently you, even when you change your vocal styles. But one of the things I notice about your lyrics is they are very lyrical, but they're not necessarily like the typical pop lyrical. They're very poetic, and a lot of people, if it's that poetic, it's difficult to put in the form of a pop or commercial type song, and you craft it so well.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm like you. I like words.
Yeah. So I'm going to play this High in Heaven, but you want to give us a little intro of what you are speaking of here?
Sure. Life is so difficult, but it should be fun too. Oh, it was so long ago that I wrote that kind of thing. But it was, I was really influenced by the New York club kids at the time. I mean, not the murders and stuff, that's awful. But just the celebration of eccentricity and uniqueness. So many of those people were misfits in school.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they become not only accepted, but celebrated for their uniqueness. It just seemed like such a party, and I kept thinking about, when we are on the other side, maybe it's just going to be a big party. And
I love it. I love it. Well, here is High in Heaven by ZWERG. Well, that is such a great song. I was looking on, we have this going on Facebook Live, and because we were playing your song, we got kicked off.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, even though it's you.
Too bad.
Even though it's you.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have you here live, and very happy about that. I love the idea that on the other side, life is a party. On this side, we like it to be a party, but it's not always. You know, especially right now with the COVID pandemic, we mentioned about it earlier when I brought you on the air, and mental health is a real problem. I know myself, I've had some few pretty dark days, honestly, days where I've just wondered, like, what the F? I mean, it's like, it's, if the world is going this way, then why would I even want to continue? And, I'm lucky that I have a support system. I have a therapist, a psychiatrist, a sister who is basically another therapist and coach. And I know when we've talked the first time, you were just so candid about what is going on with you. And I know if we share that story, there are people out there who could really love to hear your words of experience, strength, and hope.
Well, I reiterate your sentiments. I've had some really dark days as well. It's wonderful that you have that support system. Not everybody does.
Right.
Not everybody, a lot of people who don't deal with mental illness can't even relate. They don't even understand it. Like my dad, God bless him, he never understood it. He's blessed with, he's never experienced depression. So it took some pretty serious circumstances or situations for him to actually get it. It's so wonderful that you have that support system. I have that in my boyfriend.
He sounds amazing.
He is amazing. He's my rock.
How long have you guys been together?
It'll be 11 years this December.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah, he, when things are really bad, he's just the perfect guy to be around. My mom, I think she's a real artistic temperament too. And so is my dad. He's a musician. And so it's interesting that he never struggled with mental illness, because it seems like most artists I know
right.
do struggle with it.
One form or another. One form or another.
Yeah. And she, like my boyfriend always says, she has every reason to be super confident because she's very attractive, she's a doctorate, but she's so humble, almost to the point of lacking confidence. And I think that's definitely where I get it from. I really think for me it's more genetic.
Yeah.
But there is mental illness on my dad's side as well.
How has it affected you recently? Yeah,
there are days when I think, like my mom's cousin actually has COVID.
Oh, wow.
I can't,
currently?
Yeah, I just can't presently relate to people dealing with it, on a personal level. But Tim, I call him Tig. It's Irish for Timothy. Anyway,
okay.
We live in northern New Brunswick, but I'm at my parents' house now in Moncton, where I grew up, and there was just an outbreak here.
Wow, because the last I talked to you, you said there were like 5. So
yeah, New Brunswick was faring very well. Anyway, I was just going to say that for me personally, I try to keep busy and stay on a schedule. That really helps me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't play live right now, So the way to do that, I think, is to share videos, and it was great that we got in contact with each other through the videos. I think that's the way that people are communicating now. So we're really lucky to have the internet right now.
We are. Definitely that I was able to take tap lessons with my teacher in New York.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was there are some blessings that come out of all this. And like you said, the video, we have to look for the blessings.
Exactly.
To look for the blessings. And, I made the decision the last time I had, a really dark day was I just made the decision that no person, no politician, no government, no outbreak has power over me. I am not giving it my power anymore. And
that's great.
What kept me going that day was the thought that, I have no hope right now. I don't see any hope. I don't feel it. But the thought came to me that, there's probably somebody who is trying to get sober right now that needs, I have 14 years of sobriety, that maybe they have hope. So I got to go find them and give them, help them. Through that, it gave me hope.
Yes, it's so true. We can't relate unless we've been through it ourselves. I bet you've helped a lot of people through that because you've been there. I never had that experience, so I can't relate to them like you can. We have to go through some shit, but you got to cry before you sing, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So do you mind telling us, helping that someone, there may be someone who's listening. Yeah. Can you tell us your experience? What does it look like? What does it feel like when you have a depressed period?
Well, it started when I was about 20. Actually, even prior to that, I think when I was in my teens, I'd have those dark days that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then at one point, it just got so unbearable that I just started researching medications because I couldn't live like that anymore. So I started on antidepressants, and they really helped me. Now, I know that that's not the treatment for everybody. I realize that. But for me, I must have some kind of chemical imbalance in my brain. So the SSRIs, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, really helped me. Then I moved to Toronto, and I was very happy for a few years there with my Finnish friends and my spiritual life. Then the gay thing started to become stronger. Some people have told me that I think that's the root of your depression, but I don't feel that way. We're so lucky that right now, it's not even an issue for me anymore. I mean, I know it still is an issue, but for me, I'm so comfortable with being gay now that I don't know, maybe there is a little bit of PTSD from always being teased when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a feminine boy and very artistic and creative, and I'd get called a gaylord and a fag every day. That was my greatest fear, is to go to school and get called that.
I can relate to that too.
Yeah.
I learned the F word for gay before I knew what it was, but everybody else knew that it was me. Yeah. You were saying that some people say, well, it's your being gay that caused the depression. But I wonder, when I listen to that, and from my own experience, I wonder if it is the repression of being gay that is a trigger for. I know whenever I am suppressing or repressing my authenticity, that it is depressing. It's soul killing. Does that seem true for you as far as the repression part? I don't want to be putting words in your mouth, but that's
I think you hit the nail on the head. That's certainly how I was feeling in my 20s. And then through my 30s, I got more comfortable with it, and I met Tiggy. And now it's funny, my dad is Tig is like his best friend.
That's right.
My folks love him, and he loves my folks, and he never had a good paternal role model.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad has kind of become his dad. It's so interesting to see such Christianized people become so accepting and non-judgmental. But you're right. I think for people who did grow up like us in a religious household, or even a non-religious household that was very anti-gay, there are definitely some deep-rooted issues there.
I've met many, I don't know how the military is in Canada, but I met many, we're called PKs, preacher's kids, and many military, they're military brats. Mm-hmm. But they have the same issue with growing up in a family where the fathers were officers in the military, and it was like, you cannot be gay. That's just not manly. Yeah. It's not acceptable, and it's a lot of the same repression.
And that's so socially constructed. That's just cultural. We're obviously the way that we were designed to be. You'd think in 2020 that it wouldn't be an issue, but it still is.
It still is. We've made a lot of progress. I mean, when I was a child, I figured out. I figured out what was really going on. Just like when I was, when you hit puberty, you kind of like figure some things out. Yeah. I was about 11, but it was just 2 years before, I think, and I didn't know this then, but I look back, it was only 2 years before that it came off the list of mental illnesses. Like homosexuality came off the list. So
yeah, my dad remembers seeing that in school.
Yeah.
That black and white video. And then on top of that, well, we can both relate to the artistic temperament. You know how many artists in history were self-medicating with opioids and drink, and I don't blame them. And a lot of gay guys and girls are very artistic and creative.
I want to play this song that is coming up that you wrote for your grandfather. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. My grandfather passed in 2003. We were very, very close. Now, he, like my dad, both my grandfathers were Republicans. My maternal side's all from the States. So Connecticut, Danbury area is really my second home. And my grandfather was a Republican politician, and my dad was a progressive conservative politician in MLA in New Brunswick for years. So we do have some different politics, different opinions on some things, but my grandfather and I were very, very close, and I loved him very, very much. And I have the right to deal with things, I think. So I wrote this song for him, and I guess it was 2018, I got a little part in the movie that's out now, Stage Mother, starring Jackie Weaver, Lucy Liu, and Adrian Grenier. And the director, Tom Fitzgerald, and I are friends, and he loved this song that I wrote for my grandfather, and he had one of the characters sing it. I won't give a spoiler, but at a funeral, in a funeral scene. So it was really emotional for me to be on set and witness that, somebody singing this song that I wrote for my grandfather, who I love so much, and it was in a movie. Yeah, so it's called A Hymn for Him, so HYMN, a hymn for him, HIM. I love wordplay. And so it's a ballad. Oh, and my grandfather was a trumpeter, so we incorporated horns into the arrangement.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah, and the arranger was John Philip Chanel, who has worked extensively with Tori Amos and all kinds of people.
That's beautiful.
Diana Ross, the Bangles, the Beach Boys, Bye for Fighting, Bruce Hornsby.
Well, what a blessing. What a blessing
Yeah.
to have. Well, let's take a listen to a hymn
Sure.
for him. That is a hymn for him by our guest, ZWERG. I love your harmonies.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to touch on something. You asked, what does my depression look like? I love that question because everything is visual for me. I guess I'm synesthetic, and I didn't realize that, but everything is in colors to me, and the depression is very gray. And once it started to lift, I remember waking up and the med that I was on the first time started to work, and it was like there were more colors in the world, and there was a sense of optimism and hope, an expectation of something good. And I want people out there to know that you're not alone, and if you don't have that support system to get through, there are outlets. And I know what it's like to be at the end of your rope and hopeless and feel helpless and alone. But it really is an illusion. Just remember that. For myself, you might look at my life and think, you have no reason to be depressed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a beautiful relationship. I have a wonderful family. I had a great upbringing. I have my dream cabin with the recording studio in it. I'm able to create. So I knew for me that there was something wrong with an organ in my body, which is my brain. Mm-hmm. And my boyfriend would always tell me when I have those dark days like you were describing that you had, he would tell me these thoughts aren't real. But they just feel so real in that moment. All you can see is the negative. And all the problems in your life that were little hills become these huge mountains. When you're experiencing that pain, it's hard to believe that it's just a trick of the mind. But you just have to cling to that, know that it's not real, and you will get through it. But you have to be proactive with your treatment, with seeking the right treatment for you. Like I said, I know that drugs aren't the answer for everybody, but if they are for you, all those antidepressants, each one is so specifically indicated,
right,
that you'd think. I mean, my sister's very open with her struggle with depression. When you and I were talking, I was saying my dad was a music teacher, my mom was an art teacher, so there was no hope for the three of us.
Right.
We're all very, very sensitive.
Very feeling. We feel everything.
Very emotional. Yeah. That the good thing about that is it does fuel your art, and the art can become very cathartic for you. And then hopefully that art will help other people through what they're dealing with. My brother is an abstract painter, so he deals with it as well, but he's chosen not to go the medication route. So I really applaud him for doing that. Mm-hmm. But like I was going to say, I thought the drug that worked for me would work for my sister and my brother because we have such similar genetic makeup, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So there's a real trial and error period you have to go through. And I'm sure not just with the medications, but with whatever therapy that you feel you should apply to this. There's a period where you have to, experience some crappy times.
Yeah.
Most of those antidepressants, you feel worse before you feel better.
A lot of people, and I found this for myself. Okay, I mean, I was trying different medications, but none of them worked for the reason that I was drinking and drugging. So I was self-medicating. We were trying to treat the symptoms of addiction and alcoholism, and I'm depressed. Well, I drink too much. Alcohol's a depressant, right? I'm feeling like manic. Well, I'm doing crystal meth, so it wasn't until 9 months, it was kind of looking at long past history and so forth that I was given the diagnosis of bipolar, and some doctors thought no, and others were like, based on his history. But it was 9 months after there was a depression that got me sober.
Right.
And I woke up one day and said, today is the day the pain ends. Go throw yourself on the L tracks.
Yeah.
I've had that thought, but I've never had a plan. And that was so real that it just triggered, I now call it GOD, gift of desperation. And when I started my recovery, I was just so joyful, and I was like on this pink cloud, as they say. It's like I was just so full of joy. And then 9 months after being sober, I woke up one morning, and it was like I couldn't get out of bed, and it was that way for 6 weeks. I could not. If I got out of bed and got on the couch and did a I can't say that word.
Sudoku.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Puzzle. That was an amazing day.
Yeah.
And that's when they were able to really make a true diagnosis and find the right medication. So I think a lot of people are resistant. I hear a lot of people are resistant to medication because they're afraid that it will change something about them. But yet, at the same time, they're self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. Yes. So I would encourage anyone who, to consider that, that aspect.
Definitely. And it's so wonderful that you're so open with your story, because I know somebody out there is going to hear it and have some hope. You got through it, and they can get through it too. And I've been there. Metaphorically, wanted to throw myself on the tracks. If I'm being really transparent, I did attempt suicide in 2009.
Wow.
And I don't know what to say other than God was there. From what happened, I should have had permanent brain damage. And then after that, my boyfriend, we had just met, we weren't going out yet. He came to the hospital to visit me, and he said, never again. And it never happened again. So he's really been my angel. But even if you don't have that, if you're at the end of your rope, there is help. Listen to Skip's story, listen to my story. There's that point where you just feel there's no hope, there's no point in going on. And just remember, it's not real. You can get through it.
How do people find? I know in America here, you're in Canada, we have a suicide hotline that is national.
Yes.
And do you all have that in something similar in Canada?
Yes, we do. And I've called it.
Yeah, you have. I think I called once when I was a teenager, and I think partially because I was having thoughts and partially out of curiosity. But it's good to know it's there, and I've always known it's there. There are doctors. Right. Doctors are not quacks. There may be some, but there are quacks and everything. But I really appreciate you sharing all of this, and
you too,
encouraging others that there is hope, and this is a strange time. Find something to be useful, to be helpful for others. Get out of, we like to say, get out of your own brain. Get out of your own brain and hold out your hands.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
I just thought of that. Let's write a song together, and that'll be part of it.
Okay, sure. Let's do it. I love that. It's so true. You get in your head so much when you're at home all the time.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you can help people, and hobbies, this is a great time to be creative if you're a creative person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just that sense of optimism isn't always there. But, contact me. If you need somebody to understand what you're going through, just contact me. It's ZWERG.ca, ZWERG.ca, and that'll have links. I think some of them are outdated now, but it's Facebook.
ZWERG?
Sorry?
ZWERG.ca?
Yep, ZWERG.ca.
I will put that in the notes of this Facebook posting that came back on when your music was over.
I give permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Eldon Thiele, ELDON, THIELE. I'm on Instagram, Eldon Thiele, also House of ZWERG, HAUS of ZWERG.
Is that the Finnish? Is that the Finnish spelling?
German.
German. Okay.
Deutsch. House of ZWERG is my the fashion label. I've been making lots of clothes. So yeah, that's a hobby of mine that keeps some positivity in my mind. It's a great opportunity to work on my outfits.
I love your outfits, and we haven't talked much about that, but your outfits, the way you show them with pride and exuberance, your joy just shows through them. And I love how you tell what you used, and it's household items, things you find around the house to make these outfits that are just, how do you describe them? I see them a little bit gothic. I see them a little bit warrior. I see them a little bit sexy. I see them a little bit, the balance of masculinity and femininity. There's just so much that's in them, and they're shiny. Gotta have the shiny. How do you?
Okay, guys.
Yes. How do you describe them?
Well, I always say if it's slutty and weird, I'm there. So slutty and weird. I never took fashion design or anything, and I'm probably breaking all the rules, but what rules?
What rules? Come on.
What rules?
There are no rules. Our president doesn't need rules, so why do we? Oh, sorry. I don't get political on the show, but I think I just did.
I agree. Yeah, my dad always said with music, if you know the rule, you can break it. But I always say, if you don't know the rule, you can break it.
That's right.
People made up the rules. You're a person.
That's right.
Break them. Yeah, I'm just self-taught. I just kind of tweak whatever I have lying around, tweak it till I like it. So I would wear that out when we can go out again. And that's my method, really. And sometimes, there's always disappointments in everything. Like you spent weeks sewing together a whole outfit and end up having to take it all apart because it doesn't work or it doesn't fit or whatever. But that's all part of the process.
Yeah, and you enjoy the process.
I do. I love putting on a documentary.
That is awesome. Well, Eldon, it's been so fun having you. And I know we've been talking about this interview for a few weeks, and it actually has happened, and it's as awesome as I thought it would be, and I definitely hope we do this again.
I'd love that. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome, and I think it's appropriate that I'm going to lead us out on the song Happy Being Crazy. It's pretty apropos, eh? All right.
Yes.
Well, you've been listening to The Truth Is Out with Skip Sams. Eldon ZWERG is my guest today, and again, you can find him at ZWERG.ca for Canada. That's ZWERG.ca.
Oh, right, Z in the States, not Z.
Z in the States. Yes. All right. Thank you so much for being here. And everyone, you have a great Saturday, and we will see you next week. Here is Happy Being Crazy by ZWERG.
Bye.